If you've got a pension and Social Security coming in, here's something almost nobody explains correctly. The rules just changed in a way that could mean thousands of extra dollars for you, or a tax surprise you never saw coming. In January 2025, the federal government eliminated two provisions that had been quietly cutting Social Security checks for millions of retirees with pensions. By July 2025, the Social Security Administration had already paid out $17 billion in back pay. But here's the part nobody's talking about. That same change created a brand new trap, one that's catching people who think they're finally in the clear. If you spent your career as a teacher, a firefighter, a police officer, a federal or state employee, or you've simply got a private pension stacked on top of Social Security, this video is built specifically for you. These aren't the generic tips you've already heard 100 times. They're the specific math that only applies when pension income and Social Security income land in your account together. Get even one of them wrong, and it doesn't cost you once, it can cost you every single year of retirement. Stick around for all four because they build on each other. The last one is the one almost nobody thinks to check until it's too late to undo. Today, I'm covering four things every pension plus Social Security retiree needs to check this year. And number 4 is something even some financial advisors are getting wrong. Let's start with number 1. Number 1, the repeal and the trap hiding inside it. For more than 40 years, two rules called the Windfall Elimination Provision, WEP, and the Government Pension Offset, GPO, quietly reduced Social Security checks for anyone who also collected a pension from a job that didn't withhold Social Security taxes, mostly teachers, police officers, firefighters, and government employees. WEP could cut your own Social Security benefit up to $587 a month. GPO was worse. It could reduce a spousal or survivor's Social Security benefit by 2/3 of your pension, sometimes down to zero. On January 5, 2025, the Social Security Fairness Act eliminated both rules, retroactive to January 2024. By July 2025, the Social Security Administration had sent more than 3.1 million payments, totaling $17 billion in retroactive back pay. Quick note before we go further, not everyone with a government pension was affected. Roughly 72% of state and local employees already paid into Social Security and were never touched by WEP or GPO. This only mattered if your pension came from work where Social Security taxes were never withheld, classic teacher, police, and fire pensions in certain states. Picture a retired teacher we'll call Carol. Her state pension never withheld Social Security, so WEP had been quietly cutting her own benefit for years. After the repeal, she received a lump sum covering the gap back to January 2024, plus a higher monthly check going forward. Here's the trap. For decades, Social Security told spouses, like Carol's husband, that their spousal benefit would be reduced all the way to zero because of GPO. So many of them never bothered filing a claim at all. Now that GPO is gone, that benefit could be worth real money. But if you never applied, a brand new claim today may only stretch back about 6 months, not all the way to January 2024. This isn't a mistake you made. Nobody told you the rules had flipped, and the agency that owes you the difference isn't the one calling to remind you. If this applies to you or your spouse, the fix is simple. Log in to your SSA.gov account this week or call the Fairness Act line and confirm whether a new claim is sitting there waiting for you. That very same income increase can quietly trigger something else, and almost no one warns you about it. Number 2, the tax myth that's costing you. You've probably heard that the 2025 tax law got rid of taxes on Social Security. That's not quite true, and believing it could leave you owing more than you expect. Here's what actually happened. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act, signed in July 2025, created a new senior deduction, up to $6,000 if you're 65 or older, or $12,000 if you're married and both spouses qualify. It runs through tax year 2028, and it phases out once income passes $75,000 single or $150,000 married. It's real money, but it doesn't touch the formula that decides whether your Social Security gets taxed in the first place. That formula is called provisional income, and it hasn't changed since 1984. Take half your Social Security benefit, add your other income, including your full pension, and if the total passes $25,000 single or $32,000 married, up to 85% of your Social Security becomes taxable. Here's the part nobody mentions. If those 1984 thresholds had simply kept pace with inflation, the married threshold would sit above $90,000 today, not $32,000. Instead, it's been frozen for over 40 years, which is exactly why roughly half of all retirees now pay some tax on their Social Security, up from about 10% when the rule was written. A retired couple with a $40,000 pension and $35,000 in combined Social Security clears the $32,000 line easily. Up to 85% of their Social Security is taxable, new deduction or not. The deduction softens the bill, it doesn't erase it. Here's why this hits pension households harder than almost anyone else. Your pension shows up as full income automatically every single year. You can't quietly skip it in a high-income year the way you might skip an optional IRA withdrawal. It's always there, always counted. The fix? Before December, add up your expected pension and Social Security for the year, run the provisional income math, and check what your withholding actually covers, so April isn't a surprise. Now, before we get to the part most retirees never think to check, quick question for you. If you have a pension, do you actually know how close your income sits to the next Medicare premium cliff? Most people find out only when the bill shows up. That's number 3. Drop a comment and tell me, pension, Social Security, or both? I read every single one, and it helps me know what to cover next. Number 3. The Medicare cliff. Pension income makes worse. Medicare premiums jump based on income, and it isn't a gentle slope, it's a cliff. Cross the line by even $1 and you pay the higher tier for the entire year. For 2026, the standard Part B premium is $202.90 a month. But once your income from your 2024 tax return crosses $109,000 single or $218,000 married, surcharges called IRMAA kick in, and your premium can climb past $284 a month per person. A Part D drug plan surcharge stacks on top of that, adding another $14.50 to $91 a month depending on income. Cross that first joint threshold, and a couple's combined annual surcharge runs over $2,297 on top of the standard premium. What's different for pension households is this: your pension and Social Security are guaranteed recurring income. They don't fluctuate. Unlike someone living off savings who can control withdrawals to stay under the line, your baseline income alone can already use up most of the room under that threshold before you even touch a Roth conversion, a required withdrawal, or selling an investment. A retired couple with a $90,000 pension and $34,000 in Social Security sits at $124,000, comfortably under the $218,000 joint threshold. But the year they convert $100,000 to a Roth, they don't realize their pension and Social Security already used up most of the space beneath that ceiling, and they sail right past it. If you just retired, there's a fix worth knowing. Medicare uses your income from 2 years ago. If your most recent year is lower because you stopped working, you can file Form SSA 44 to use that lower number instead, and possibly erase the surcharge entirely. And that leads to the one almost nobody coordinates, a decision you make once that your spouse lives with for the rest of their life. Number 4. The survivor decision almost nobody coordinates. When your pension began, you likely chose between two options: a single life payout, which pays the most each month but stops the day you die, or a joint and survivor option, which pays less but keeps part of it flowing to your spouse afterward. Here's what changed. With GPO gone, a surviving spouse can now collect a full Social Security survivor benefit, up to 100% of what you were receiving, without it being reduced by your pension anymore. Before 2025, that survivor benefit could have been cut by 2/3 of the pension amount, sometimes to zero. That changes the math on which pension option actually makes sense, because Social Security may now be covering more of the gap than it used to. There's a second piece almost nobody checks. If this is a private sector pension, it's typically insured by the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation, or PBGC, but only up to a limit. For plans that fail in 2026, the maximum guarantee is $93,477 a year at age 65, and it's lower if you retire early or chose survivor coverage. Government pensions aren't PBGC insured at all. Their security depends entirely on how well-funded your state or local system actually is. An example: a couple assumes the pension is simply guaranteed money, full stop, without checking whether their specific benefit sits above the PBGC ceiling or recalculating the survivor's Social Security now that GPO no longer applies. The fix is simple. Pull your pension survivor election paperwork and your Social Security survivor estimate and put them side by side this year, not someday. Here's what I'd do this week. 1. Log into SSA.gov and check for an unfiled WEP, GPO, or spousal claim sitting in your file. 2. Total this year's pension and Social Security income and test it against the $25,000 or $32,000 line before December 31st. 3. Measure the gap between that same combined income and your IRMAA threshold before converting or withdrawing anything large. 4. Pull your pension survivor election paperwork and your updated, unreduced Social Security survivor estimate and put them side by side. None of these take more than an afternoon. All 4 can be worth thousands. Here's the thing worth sitting with. Having both a pension and Social Security isn't a problem. It's one of the strongest positions in retirement there is. The mistake was never having 2 income sources. It's treating them like they don't talk to each other, when the IRS, Medicare, and Social Security are watching them together the entire time. One last thing before you go. Did you know about the GPO repeal before this video, or is this the first you're hearing it? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. If this was useful, subscribe. And if you want to go deeper on any of these, how having a pension changes everything in retirement, or how withdrawal order changes your lifetime tax bill by tens of thousands of dollars, those videos are right here. Whichever you choose, I'll see you there.